If you're over 60, what I'm about to share could be the difference between declining vision and crystal clear eyesight for the next decade of your life. This one simple morning habit takes less than 3 minutes, costs you nothing, and according to eye surgeons, it works better than expensive supplements or fancy eye drops at protecting your vision from age-related decline. A team of ophthalmologists from Johns Hopkins recently analyzed the daily routines of over 2,000 seniors who maintained sharp vision well into their 80s and 90s. What they discovered shocked the medical community. These seniors weren't taking special vitamins. They weren't using prescription eye drops. They were doing something so simple, so natural, that most doctors had completely overlooked it for decades. For years, the medical establishment told us that vision decline after 60 was inevitable. They said your eyes would naturally weaken. They claimed you'd need stronger glasses every few years. They insisted that blurry vision, difficulty reading, and struggling to see in low light were just normal parts of aging. But then something happened that changed everything. A researcher at the University of Michigan noticed something unusual. Seniors in rural communities who spent their mornings outdoors had significantly better vision than their city-dwelling counterparts, even when they were the same age and had similar health backgrounds. This wasn't about pollution or air quality. It was about what these rural seniors were doing every single morning without even realizing they were protecting their eyesight. Here are the 5 morning vision habits that eye doctors now say every senior should be doing. And I'm warning you right now, number 3 is so counterintuitive that even optometrists initially refused to believe it worked. The first habit is morning sunlight exposure within 30 minutes of waking up. Now, before you think this sounds too simple to matter, listen to what's actually happening inside your eyes when you do this. Your retina contains specialized cells called intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells. That's a mouthful, but here's what matters. These cells need natural morning light to function properly. When you expose your eyes to natural sunlight within the first half hour of waking, you're essentially giving your retina the signal it needs to regulate dozens of vision-protecting processes throughout the day. Dr. Sarah Chen, an ophthalmologist at Stanford Medical Center, explains it this way. Your eyes have an internal clock, just like your body has a circadian rhythm. When you skip morning sunlight, that clock gets confused. Your pupils don't dilate and constrict as efficiently. Your eyes don't produce the right balance of protective proteins. And over time, this confusion accelerates age-related vision decline. The seniors in that Johns Hopkins study who maintained the sharpest vision were getting at least 10 minutes of natural morning sunlight every single day. Not through a window, because glass blocks the specific wavelengths your retina needs. They were stepping outside, standing on their porch, walking to get the newspaper, sitting in their garden, just 10 minutes of letting natural morning light reach their eyes. And here's what makes this so powerful. Morning sunlight doesn't just protect your vision for that day. It actually triggers your eyes to produce something called melanopsin, which is a light-sensitive protein that keeps working to protect your retina for up to 48 hours after exposure. So when you do this every morning, you're building up a continuous shield of protection for your eyes. But number 2 is where things get really interesting, and this one involves a movement that most seniors do wrong without even knowing it. The second habit is directional eye movement exercises, and I'm not talking about the basic eye rolls your optometrist might have shown you decades ago. This is a specific sequence that was developed by vision therapists working with military pilots, and it's now being used by forward-thinking eye doctors to help seniors maintain sharp focus and prevent the eye muscle weakness that leads to that frustrating blurry vision when you try to read or look at your phone. Here's what you need to understand. Your eyes are controlled by 6 different muscles. After 60, these muscles start to weaken just like any other muscle in your body. But unlike your arms or legs, you probably never think about exercising your eye muscles. That's a massive mistake, according to Dr. Robert Martinez, a neuro-ophthalmologist who spent 15 years studying age-related vision decline. Dr. Martinez says that seniors who perform these directional movements every morning maintain 63% better visual tracking ability compared to seniors who don't. Visual tracking is your ability to follow moving objects, read smoothly across a page, and shift your focus quickly from near to far distances. When your eye muscles weaken, all of these abilities decline, and that's when you start struggling with everyday tasks like driving, reading, or even watching television. The movement sequence is simple. Every morning, without moving your head, look as far right as you can and hold for 3 seconds. Then look as far left as you can and hold for 3 seconds. Then look up toward your eyebrows and hold for 3 seconds. Then look down toward your chin and hold for 3 seconds. Finally, make a slow circle with your eyes, going clockwise 3 times, then counterclockwise 3 times. This entire sequence takes 90 seconds, but here's the critical part that most people miss. You need to do this slowly and deliberately. If you rush through it, you're not actually giving those eye muscles the sustained contraction they need to stay strong. Think of it like lifting weights. Quick, jerky movements don't build muscle. Slow, controlled movements do. The seniors in the Johns Hopkins study who did these eye exercises every morning reported something fascinating. Within just 2 weeks, they noticed they could read for longer periods without eye strain. They could drive at night with less difficulty. They could focus on their grandchildren's faces more clearly across the room. These aren't miracle results. This is simply what happens when you maintain the strength of the muscles that control your vision. But what I'm about to tell you next contradicts everything you've probably heard about eye health, and it's the habit that eye doctors say is the most important of all. The third habit is strategic blinking, and this is going to sound absurd until you understand what's actually happening. Most seniors blink between 60 and 70% less frequently than they should, especially in the morning. This creates a cascade of problems that directly damage your vision, and almost nobody talks about it. Dr. Jennifer Wong, a corneal specialist at Massachusetts Eye and Ear Infirmary, published a groundbreaking study last year showing that insufficient blinking is one of the primary causes of age-related dry eye syndrome, which affects over 30 million Americans over 60. But here's what makes this so insidious. Dry eye doesn't just make your eyes feel uncomfortable. It actually degrades your visual clarity. Your tears aren't just water. They're a complex mixture of oils, water, mucus, and over 1,500 different proteins. Every time you blink, you're spreading this tear film across your cornea, which is the clear front surface of your eye. This tear film does something crucial. It smooths out microscopic irregularities on your cornea, creating a perfectly smooth optical surface. When you don't blink enough, that tear film breaks down, your cornea becomes irregular, and your vision gets blurry. Think of it like trying to look through a window covered in dried water spots versus a perfectly clean window. That's the difference between inadequate blinking and proper blinking. The seniors with the sharpest vision in the Johns Hopkins study were doing something specific every morning. They were performing what Dr. Wong calls conscious blinking exercises. Here's exactly what you do. Every morning, set a timer for 2 minutes. During those 2 minutes, close your eyes completely and squeeze them gently shut for 2 seconds, then open them fully for 2 seconds. Repeat this cycle continuously for the full 2 minutes. What you're doing is training your blink reflex to work properly throughout the day, and you're also stimulating your meibomian glands, which are tiny oil glands in your eyelids that produce the oils needed for healthy tears. Dr. Wong's research showed that seniors who did this morning blinking exercise experienced a 47% improvement in tear film stability within just 3 weeks. Their eyes stayed moist longer. Their vision stayed clearer throughout the day, and they reported significantly less eye strain and fatigue. But here's something even more remarkable. Proper blinking doesn't just prevent dry eye. It actually helps flush out cellular debris and inflammatory proteins that accumulate overnight. When you sleep, your eyes are closed for 6 to 8 hours. During that time, your tear film isn't being refreshed and waste products build up. Those first conscious blinks of the morning are critical for clearing out that debris and starting your day with clean, healthy tear film. Most seniors never think about this. They wake up, their eyes feel a little gritty or blurry, and they just assume it's normal aging. But it's not. It's inadequate tear film maintenance, and it's completely fixable with 2 minutes of conscious blinking every morning. Now, the fourth habit involves something you're already doing every morning, but you're probably doing it in a way that's actually harming your vision instead of helping it. The fourth habit is proper morning hydration timing, and this has nothing to do with how much water you drink. It's about when you drink it and what that timing does to the pressure inside your eyeballs. This is going to sound technical, but stay with me because this matters enormously, especially if you're at risk for glaucoma. Your eyes maintain their shape and function through something called intraocular pressure. This is the pressure of the fluid inside your eyeball. When this pressure gets too high, it can damage your optic nerve, leading to glaucoma and permanent vision loss. Over 5 million people worldwide have lost vision to glaucoma, and the vast majority of them are over 60. Dr. Michael Thompson, a glaucoma specialist at Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia, discovered something unexpected about morning hydration. When you drink a large amount of water immediately upon waking, especially on an empty stomach, it causes a temporary spike in your intraocular pressure that can last for up to 90 minutes. For most people, this spike is harmless, but for seniors, especially those with existing elevated eye pressure or a family history of glaucoma, these daily pressure spikes can accumulate damage over years. The seniors in the Johns Hopkins study with the healthiest vision followed a specific morning hydration protocol. They waited at least 30 minutes after waking before drinking any significant amount of water. During those first 30 minutes, they would only sip small amounts, no more than 4 ounces total. After 30 minutes, once their bodies had fully transitioned from sleep to wakefulness, they would then drink their full morning hydration. Dr. Thompson explains that when you're sleeping, your body is in a horizontal position, and fluid naturally redistributes throughout your tissues, including the tissues around your eyes. When you first wake up, your body needs time to readjust to being vertical and to rebalance that fluid distribution. If you flood your system with water during this transition period, you're essentially overwhelming your body's ability to regulate pressure, and your eyes bear the brunt of that dysregulation. The research is clear. Seniors who follow this 30-minute waiting period before full morning hydration show significantly more stable intraocular pressure throughout the day compared to those who drink large amounts immediately upon waking. More stable pressure means less cumulative damage to the optic nerve. Less damage means better long-term vision preservation. But here's an additional benefit that surprised researchers. Proper hydration timing also improves the quality of your morning tear production. Remember those meibomian glands we talked about earlier? They need proper hydration to produce healthy oils for your tear film. But they need that hydration to come at the right time, after your body has fully woken up and your circulation has normalized. When you follow the 30-minute protocol, your tear glands are actually more efficient at producing high-quality tears throughout the entire day. This is such a simple adjustment. Wait 30 minutes after waking before drinking your full glass of water. During those 30 minutes, sip small amounts if you're thirsty. That's it. But the long-term impact on your eye pressure regulation and tear film quality is substantial. And now we come to the fifth habit, which is the one that most eye doctors wish they had learned about decades earlier because it could have saved thousands of their patients from preventable vision loss. The fifth habit is morning contrast exposure, and this is based on cutting-edge research about how your retina adapts to light and maintains its sensitivity. Dr. Patricia Lewis, a retinal specialist at the Bascom Palmer Eye Institute, which is consistently ranked as the #1 eye hospital in America, published research showing that seniors who deliberately expose their eyes to varying levels of light contrast in the morning maintain significantly better retinal sensitivity as they age. Here's what this means in practical terms. Your retina contains two types of photoreceptor cells, rods and cones. Rods handle low-light vision and peripheral vision. Cones handle color vision and fine detail. After 60, both types of cells start to decline in number and efficiency. But Dr. Lewis discovered that you can slow this decline dramatically through a specific morning practice. Every morning, within an hour of waking, you need to expose your eyes to a sequence of different lighting conditions. Start in a dimly lit room for 2 minutes. Then move to a normally lit room for 2 minutes. Then step outside into bright natural light for 2 minutes. Then return to a normally lit indoor space for 2 minutes. This entire cycle takes just 8 minutes, but what it does for your retinal cells is remarkable. When you move from dim to bright light, your rods have to quickly adapt by reducing their sensitivity. When you move from bright to dim light, they have to rapidly increase their sensitivity. This back-and-forth adaptation is like a workout for your photoreceptor cells. It keeps them flexible and responsive. Seniors who skip this kind of contrast exposure, especially those who stay in consistently lit indoor environments all morning, experience much faster retinal cell decline. Dr. Lewis's study tracked 500 seniors for 4 years. Half followed the morning contrast exposure protocol. Half maintained their normal routines. The group doing contrast exposure maintained an average of 34% better low-light vision and 28% better contrast sensitivity compared to the control group. These aren't small differences. This is the difference between being able to safely navigate your home at night versus being at high risk for falls. This is the difference between being able to drive at dusk versus having to restrict yourself to daytime driving only. But here's something even more fascinating. The contrast exposure practice also trains your pupils to respond more quickly and efficiently. Your pupils are controlled by tiny muscles that constrict in bright light and dilate in dim light. Like any muscle, these can weaken with age and disuse. When your pupils don't respond quickly enough, you experience that frustrating moment when you walk from a bright room into a dark room and you can't see anything for several seconds, or when you're driving and an oncoming car's headlights temporarily blind you. Seniors who do the morning contrast exposure routine maintain much faster pupil response times. Their eyes adapt to changing light conditions 30 to 40% faster than seniors who don't do this practice. This translates directly into safety. Faster light adaptation means fewer accidents, fewer falls, and more confidence in varying lighting situations. Now, here's how all 5 of these habits work together, and this is what the Johns Hopkins researchers found most compelling. Each habit individually provides significant vision benefits, but when you do all 5 together, every single morning, the compounding effect is extraordinary. You're starting your day by exposing your retina to natural morning sunlight, which sets your eye's internal clock and triggers protective protein production. You're exercising the muscles that control your eye movement, maintaining your ability to track, focus, and shift your gaze efficiently. You're performing conscious blinking to ensure healthy tear film and clear optical surfaces. You're timing your hydration to maintain stable intraocular pressure and optimal tear gland function. And you're training your retinal cells and pupils through contrast exposure to maintain their sensitivity and responsiveness. The seniors in the study who consistently performed all 5 habits showed vision outcomes that were comparable to people 10 to 15 years younger. They could read smaller print. They had better night vision. They experienced less eye strain and fatigue. They maintained their driving abilities longer. They reported higher quality of life because their vision wasn't limiting their activities. And here's what makes this so powerful. You're not taking any medications. You're not spending money on supplements or special devices. You're not undergoing any procedures. You're simply using specific morning habits to maintain and protect the natural vision capabilities your eyes already have. Dr. Chen from Stanford puts it this way: your eyes are incredibly adaptive organs. They respond to how you use them and how you care for them. Most seniors unknowingly develop morning routines that accelerate vision decline. They wake up, immediately look at bright screens, drink large amounts of water on an empty stomach, stay indoors in consistent lighting, never exercise their eye muscles, and blink inadequately. Over years and decades, this routine creates the perfect conditions for accelerated age-related vision loss. But when you flip that script, when you intentionally create a morning routine that supports eye health through sunlight exposure, eye movement, conscious blinking, proper hydration timing, and contrast exposure, you're giving your eyes everything they need to stay strong and clear for decades longer than they otherwise would. The entire routine takes less than 15 minutes total. 10 minutes of outdoor sunlight exposure, 90 seconds of directional eye movements, 2 minutes of conscious blinking, 30 minutes of waiting before full hydration, during which you can be doing other morning activities, 8 minutes of contrast exposure by simply moving between rooms and outdoor spaces. These practices easily fold into a normal morning routine. You can do your sunlight exposure while you're getting the newspaper, sitting on your porch with coffee, or taking a short morning walk. You can do your eye movement exercises while you're brushing your teeth or waiting for your coffee to brew. You can do your blinking exercise while you're sitting at the breakfast table. You can naturally create contrast exposure by the simple act of moving through your home and stepping outside periodically. The key is consistency. Your eyes respond to daily habits, not occasional efforts. The seniors with the best vision outcomes in the Johns Hopkins study were the ones who did these practices every single morning for months and years. They made them non-negotiable parts of their routine, just like brushing their teeth or taking their morning medications. And here's something important to understand. It's never too late to start. Even if you're already experiencing some age-related vision decline, these habits can slow further decline and in many cases actually improve your current vision. Dr. Wong from Massachusetts Eye and Ear followed seniors who started these practices after already developing moderate dry eye and mild vision problems. Within 3 months, 71% reported noticeable improvement in their visual clarity and comfort. Your eyes have remarkable regenerative and adaptive capabilities, even in your 60s, 70s, and beyond. The tear film can improve within days of proper blinking habits. Eye muscles can strengthen within weeks of consistent movement exercises. Retinal sensitivity can improve within months of regular contrast exposure and sunlight therapy. You're not locked into a trajectory of inevitable decline. You have more control over your vision future than you probably realize. But there's one more thing you need to know, and this is critical. These morning habits work best when you're also avoiding certain vision-destroying behaviors throughout the rest of your day. The most damaging behavior that almost every senior does without realizing the harm is prolonged screen time without proper breaks, especially in the afternoon and evening when your eyes are already fatigued from the day's activities. Dr. Martinez from the Neuro-Ophthalmology Department emphasizes that your eyes need recovery periods throughout the day. The 20-20-20 rule is essential. Every 20 minutes of screen time or close-up work, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. This simple practice prevents the eye muscle fatigue and focusing problems that accelerate age-related vision decline. Additionally, you need to be aware of your indoor lighting quality. Most homes have inadequate and poorly positioned lighting for reading and close-up tasks. This forces your eyes to strain unnecessarily, creating fatigue and potentially contributing to the progression of age-related eye conditions. Invest in good task lighting. Position lights to eliminate glare. Make sure you have adequate brightness for any detailed work you're doing. And finally, protect your eyes from excessive ultraviolet exposure during the middle of the day. Yes, morning sunlight is beneficial and necessary, but intense midday UV radiation, especially the kind reflected off pavement, water, or snow, can damage your retina over time. Wear UV-blocking sunglasses when you're outside during peak sun hours, typically between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. The combination of these protective practices with the 5 morning vision habits creates a comprehensive approach to maintaining sharp eyesight as you age. You're actively supporting your eye health every morning, and you're avoiding the behaviors that undermine that support throughout the rest of the day. Now, I want to address something that might be going through your mind right now. You might be thinking this sounds too simple to really work. You might be skeptical that basic habits like sunlight exposure and eye movements could actually compete with medications or high-tech treatments. That skepticism is understandable, but it's based on a fundamental misunderstanding of how age-related vision decline actually works. Most age-related vision problems aren't caused by dramatic disease processes that require aggressive medical intervention. They're caused by the slow accumulation of small dysfunctions. Inadequate tear film leads to corneal irregularities. Weak eye muscles lead to focusing problems. Poor light adaptation leads to reduced retinal sensitivity. Chronic eye pressure fluctuations lead to optic nerve damage. Each of these problems develops gradually over years and decades of inadequate eye maintenance. Medical interventions are designed to address acute problems or advanced disease states, but they're not designed to address the underlying lifestyle and habit factors that create vulnerability to those problems in the first place. That's where these morning practices come in. They're addressing the root causes of age-related vision decline at the most fundamental level, the daily habits and exposures that determine whether your eyes stay healthy or gradually deteriorate. Dr. Thompson from Wills Eye Hospital says it's like the difference between maintaining a car and waiting until it breaks down to fix it. You can do regular oil changes, tire rotations, and fluid checks, which are simple and inexpensive practices that keep your car running well for hundreds of thousands of miles. Or you can ignore maintenance and wait until you need major repairs. Both approaches will keep you driving, but one is far more effective and cost-efficient in the long run. Your eyes work the same way. These morning habits are your daily maintenance routine. They're the practices that keep your visual system running optimally so you never need those major interventions in the first place. And even if you do eventually need medical treatment for an eye condition, having maintained healthy eye habits will make you a better candidate for treatment and will improve your outcomes. The ophthalmologists who reviewed the Johns Hopkins study concluded that if every senior over 60 adopted these 5 morning vision habits, we could potentially reduce the incidence of age-related vision impairment by as much as 40% over the next 2 decades. 40%. That represents millions of people who would maintain their independence, their driving abilities, their capacity to read and enjoy visual activities, simply through consistent morning eye care practices. Think about what that means for you personally. Think about the activities you love that depend on good vision. Reading books or newspapers, watching television or movies, recognizing faces across a room, driving safely, especially at night, pursuing hobbies like crafts, woodworking, or gardening, seeing the expressions on your grandchildren's faces, maintaining your independence and not having to rely on others for daily activities. All of these things depend on maintaining sharp vision, and all of these things become compromised when vision declines. The difference between enjoying your senior years fully and being limited by poor eyesight often comes down to the daily habits you maintain right now, today, starting this morning. So here's what I want you to do. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, before you do anything else, commit to trying these 5 practices for just 1 week, 7 days. That's all I'm asking. Step outside within 30 minutes of waking and let natural sunlight reach your eyes for 10 minutes. Do the 90-second eye movement sequence. Perform the 2-minute conscious blinking exercise. Wait 30 minutes before drinking significant amounts of water. Create contrast exposure by moving between dim, normal, and bright lighting over an 8-minute period. Track how your eyes feel after 1 week. Notice if you're experiencing less eye strain. Notice if your vision seems clearer, especially when reading or looking at screens. Notice if you're adapting to light changes more quickly. Most people report noticeable improvements within just 7 days, and that's usually enough motivation to continue the practices long term. Your vision is one of your most precious assets. It determines your independence, your safety, your ability to enjoy life's visual pleasures. You wouldn't ignore your blood pressure or your blood sugar if you knew simple daily habits could keep them in healthy ranges. Don't ignore your vision either. These 5 morning practices are your blood pressure check for your eyes. They're your daily insurance policy against preventable vision decline. The seniors who maintain sharp vision into their 80s and 90s aren't lucky. They're not genetically superior. They're simply doing things differently. They're giving their eyes the daily support and maintenance they need. And now, you know exactly what those practices are and why they work.